Daily Mail reports CNN says Chris Cuomo's fate will be decided in the next several days after text messages revealed he wrote Andrew's assault pest rebuttals, and used sources to dig dirt on accuser. Victim says system protects powerful men from accountability. Newly released texts show how CNN host Chris Cuomo helped strategize his brother's response to harassment allegations. CNN told DailyMail.com that the transcripts of Cuomo's interview with investigators and the texts will be reviewed. We will be having a conversation and seeking additional clarity about their significance as they relate to CNN over the next several days. So maybe he won't be fired, but we'll see. A March 1st message he sent to the governor's chief aide, Melissa DeRosa, included a suggested written response Andrew Cuomo should have used. The messages were released by the New York Attorney General's office Monday. In one, Chris said his friend asked actor Alec Baldwin to post a 14-minute video rant on Instagram in defense of his disgraced governor brother. Chris said he asked his friend to tell Baldwin to stay out of the scandal. The text also revealed the television personality was investigating one woman who accused the ex-politician of trying to kiss her at a wedding. DeRosa and Cuomo would often send her unsolicited advice, which she often ignored. All right, Cuomo, he's not a journalist. He is a content creator for CNN. And I'm gonna make sure I give proper credit where credit is due. This is Danny and Ryan Long. Danny Polishchuk, I'm probably pronouncing your name wrong, Danny. But they had this funny bit on their podcast about how, it would just really irk the media by calling all of their journalists content creators. And Ryan Long is like, the right would roll with it and be like, I guess, whatever. And the left would just freak out. No, we're journalists. No, hold on. Chris Cuomo's not doing journalism here. He's directly intervening in a political scandal, using a media network to protect his corrupt brother who assaulted women, who had killed the elderly. And all of this, CNN helped cover up. Not a journalist, but he does make content, so I think it's fair to call Cuomo a content creator.
And he was lying about it from the very beginning of this scandal. CNN said that they were investigating ties between the brother, the governor, and of course the anchor, and they were looking into it, and they're going to have a thorough investigation. And now we have the New York State Attorney General release all these text messages that implicate him. I mean, I'm really surprised that CNN is not going to give him a medal in excellency of lying and deception. I mean, CNN, for frick's sakes, look at their lineup. They got Lubin Tubin. They had the brain eating guy. They got a Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
They got the guy who talks about black holes swallowing airplanes, and now they have creepy Cuomo. I mean, CNN is not a news organization. They are a smear merchant operation that does the bidding and the PR of the super powerful that wants to impose their will or their willy onto the unsuspecting, innocent public. And I am sick of these people having carte blanche promotion by all these big tech social media companies. Sorry, I had that lined up. I'm so mad at CNN.
The brain-eating guy. That's of course.
That's their lineup. I mean, you got seriously.
He's not
that's the quote. Most trusted. He's not, but that's the most trusted name in news. They had people eating brains on national television promoting that. YouTube's like, that's great. That's awesome. That's family-friendly content that we got to push in the algorithm. Meanwhile, independent media like my channel, your channel, We Are Changed, we get screwed over, and of course we get downranked. And there's so many instances. CNN even. I'm a little biased here. Obviously, CNN put a false strike on one of my videos and prevented me from doing live streams when I had a live show because I played a portion of the president's speech, which was during the State of the Union. So they rigged the algorithm in many different ways, but regardless, Chris Cuomo should be obviously fired here, but with the low reputation that CNN has, will he? That's the larger question that I think a lot of people are asking themselves.
How long did it take you to write all that, Luke? That was
during the show. You were doing the introduction.
That was excellent.
That was excellent. Good, yeah.
You're doing the introduction. I'm like, I could go on a roll here.
Lubin Tubin, the brain-eating guy.
Yeah.
They got creepy Cuomo.
Yeah.
Black hole swallowing airplane.
Oh, man. Wow. CNN's reputation could not be worse. You know, I had an idea. I woke up the other morning. I think it was it this morning maybe? I usually wake up and then I just I don't know, man. I'm coming off a groggy, weird dream and I'm like vaguely remembering what's going on. And I immediately pick up my phone right when I wake up and I hit up Twitter. And then the first thing I saw was a tweet from Brian Stelter about the Omicron variant. And then I was just like, yeah, Stelter variant. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. This is a good idea. I was like, we should just name the variants after CNN's lineup.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
variant.
I'm not going to call it Omicron. I'm going to call it the lemon variant.
Yes.
Because lemon's actually like a regular word, too.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll just name all the variants after CNN hosts.
Yes.
And I called them content creators, too, because I agree. They're not journalists. They just make content. And truth be told, this is really important. Seriously, we talk about CNN's ratings being complete trash and in the gutter, and that's true, but they do get a ton of YouTube video views because YouTube promotes them. So CNN's lineup, I think they get like 100 to 200K in the key demo, and like all together, it's only like 400. So they're well below the ratings of this show. And I'm not saying that to like brag or something. I'm just pointing out like they're irrelevant, but they get the YouTube views more than we do, and we're on YouTube. So they're just content creators. Yes. That's all they are.
But a lot of that is forced. A lot of that is the algorithm literally pushing them no matter who's online. Usually the algorithm is curated for a particular audience, but you look up any kind of news-related event, CNN is up there. So they have a huge advantage over, of course, independent media when they're causing real-life harm. CNN and other corporate media make the argument that independent media is causing harm to the general public by lying and spreading misinformation. Well, number one, look at exactly what CNN did, whether it's the Hurricane Katrina, the 2008 bailouts, whether it's the weapons of mass destruction, time and time again, they kept lying through their teeth that led to real life consequences, even on a smaller micro level when we look at Chris Cuomo literally going after looking up dirts, using CNN's resources to go after the accusers of his brother, who's governor of New York, who's been accused of doing really inappropriate stuff to other female members of his staff. Family-friendly show. We can't get really into the details here. A lot of it is also vague, but that should be the least thing that Cuomo should be in trouble for.
We can. A lot of the allegations are like when he grabbed that woman by the neck and like pulled her in, and she's like clearly freaked out. Then Cuomo himself put out a montage of him inappropriately touching people to justify being okay. It was funny because he was like, I'm an Italian. Yeah. You know, I touch everybody. Yeah. Here's a video of me doing it. And you're just like, oh, it's making it worse.
Yeah.
It's like all these videos of him like grabbing faces of random people. And I'm like, it doesn't make you innocent. It just makes you a bisexual assailant.
But it wasn't just faces. It wasn't just people feeling uncomfortable. It was also people being touched in other private areas. It was also forcefully kissing them and making them feel really uncomfortable by making a lot of innuendos and kind of demands. And of course, you know, that thing is still nothing compared to what he did to the state of New York during, of course, the beginning of COVID with his policy when it came to elderly homes and the larger impact that he had on the large number of people that died as a consequence because of his direct policies that killed people. So that to me should be the bigger controversy. It shouldn't be, of course, a lot of the PR stuff. It shouldn't be a lot of the lighter stuff because there is some lighter stuff mixed in with some of the heavier stuff. But this shows a kind of, characterization of someone who's above the law, who thinks that they could do whatever they want, who routinely abuses people around them, and they think they could get away with it because they're in a high position of power. That's the kind of greaseball thinking that should be called out because it leads to, of course, on a lower level, people feeling uncomfortable. On a bigger level, grandma being pushed in with the latest COVID cases inside of her nursing home because he thinks he could get away with it. And he has.
Andrew Cuomo killed like 15,000 people.
Easily. That's the numbers we know. He hid the numbers. He lied about the numbers. So those numbers are probably a lot bigger. And the fact that he made that policy, the fact that he hid that policy is also another big aspect here because he was caught lying, manipulating the data, manipulating the information. The new governor of New York came out and said, hey, there's actually a lot more people here that were caught up in this. There's actually a lot more people here that were affected by this that we didn't even know about. And I mean, when you get to this kind of level of sociopathic thinking, this kind of level of making these decisions that impact people so negatively, this is absolutely nothing. But it still should be called out for. They still should be held accountable for all the egregious actions that they're doing.
It's because they hated Trump so much.
Yes.
It was that Trump sent in the Mercy naval vessel, and the Javits Center had been opened for emergency usage. And the Mercy, I don't believe, was ever used. Maybe like one or two beds or something. The Javits was at 30%, but Cuomo was like, let's not give Trump a win. And so he put recovering COVID patients who are still infectious into nursing homes. And in Pennsylvania, where this was happening too, under Governor Tom Wolf, it was the now Admiral.
Honorary Admiral of
whatever, Biden's appointee for health services.
Rachel
Levine, right?
Yeah.
Took their parents out of a nursing home just before the sick people were put in.
Yeah.
That shows foreknowledge
Yeah.
that they were going to be killing the elderly.
Yep. Didn't care.
They knew, man.
They had hospitals that were wide open in the middle of Central Park that were just put there. They were field hospitals, and there was no one in them. So why would you do this kind of policy? It absolutely makes no sense at all. And the fact that he didn't go down for that, the fact that he went down for something else later down the line shows you that there's bigger things at hand here. There's more political manipulation here. There's a bigger power structure that probably did ensue between the Cuomos and another power structure. There was probably a bigger ask by the power structure that Cuomo probably didn't want to go along with. But also with this latest revelation, this is another aspect to talk about here, because this was the New York Attorney General that released these text messages. And for people to think that this is not political, that this is not done in a bigger power grab, is also, I would say, a little bit naive, since of course most New York politics is extremely political, extremely related to criminal organizations, criminal gangs as well. So I do believe that there's a bigger power struggle here, and they're going after the Cuomos, bringing them down because of something else that we might not even know about, personally, from my own opinion.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to watch live, you can check out this channel Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and if you want more unfiltered and uncensored content with all of these guests, go to timcast.com and become a member. All of these guests you know and love in exclusive segments on our website where we are unrestricted in what we talk about, so you'll definitely not want to miss it. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all next time.